everyone, welcome to my channel, Courtney Reads. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of different things. As you can kind of tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about what I've been reading so far in 2025, what I'm currently reading, and I'm going to be doing a little mini book haul. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to have a little bit of a message about what my channel is going to be looking like for the future, as it is not quite what other booktubers do, so it'll be a little bit different, but I hope you will like it and stick around nonetheless. Okay, to get started, I want to talk about the books I've been reading in 2025. I've only read 3 books this year so far in 2025. The first 2 books that I read were kind of what I've been working on since the end of, I think, November of 2024. So it kind of spilled into January, and that's when I finished them, is in January. I read and did a tandem read of Empire of Storms, and then also, if you know, also of Tower of Dawn. So Empire of Storms was definitely my favorite out of the 2 during the tandem read, which I think everyone else kind of agrees in that line of thinking, as I was kind of forewarned about Tower of Dawn before I even went to the story, so I kind of can see where everyone was coming from, and I loved the ending of this book. I had a little theory about what Kingdom of Ash was going to be while reading Empire of Storms, and I thought to myself, like, it was such a fleeting theory in my brain that not to spoil anything, of course, but I just wanted to kind of share that I had this theory of how Kingdom of Ash was going to kind of continue within the story after finishing these books, and kind of during, like I said, during reading Empire Storms. And I was right. Like, when I thought of this like theory or guess, it was like a fleeting idea. Like, I barely thought about it more than like less than a minute, and then I was like, no, that would never happen. And then it happened, so I was quite surprised about it, and the ending had me like jaw on the floor, so I was very happy to have read this book. But Tower of Dawn, on the other hand, not quite as happy with this story. It's not that I really disliked Cole, or Call, however you want to call him. I call him Cole. And I didn't really like love or hate Cole. I mean, you know, you kind of have this like kind of distrust of this character throughout the series. But in this book, I was a bit open-minded, but at the same time, as I was reading it, I'm like, this is really, really slow. I think I rated it, like 3 stars or something, so it was not as good as I hoped it would be. And the other book that I did read, and I'll put a picture up here on the screen somewhere, is Iron Flame. I read Iron Flame, and I did a few TikToks about it and a few, YouTube shorts, as you may or may not have seen on my YouTube channel, and I really liked it. I would just say that the ending was like not so surprising to me, like especially with this one aspect or feature of the certain character kept repeating itself in the book, and the author would kind of direct us to think of it that way. Like, the author kept directing us to this feature within the story, and I'm like, okay, I'm clocking this, like I'm aware of it, and I'm gonna like keep remembering it, so at the end of the story was the big reveal. I was like, okay, like I got it, I saw it, but I am excited to see where Onyx Storm continues. But I hear from my friends that it's way better than Iron Flame, so that's what's kind of really keeping me into the series. But if I'm not giving this like kind of like, Tower of Dawn, or sorry, not Tower of Dawn, like Throne of Glass series like level of feeling, then I may or may not continue the series, because I think each book is going to be like 500 plus pages, which is good, but at the same time it is pretty chunky, so I just don't want to continue something I'm not loving. The next part of this video that I want to share is a mini book haul. I'm very excited to share about these books because there's going to be a theme, as you might see within this book haul, and it has about, well, not to spoil anything, but there is a theme, and this theme is kind of where I want to take my reading, and it's just a little bit different to other YouTubers, and I say that not in any type of way, just that, it's not your typical, book haul, because I'm trying to read more books that are not typically on BookTube or Book Talk. I want to, for your guys' sake and for my own, not be reading the same 5 books that are being regurgitated in the month of, March or last month, things like that. So this is the book haul that I have to share with you. It is only a couple of books, so we'll go by pretty fast. The first book I want to share is called The Inconvenient Indian by Thomas King. And this book is kind of a historical timeline of the Indigenous history throughout Canada specifically, as you know, that's where I'm from. So I want to represent, as an Indigenous person, to read more Indigenous literature. And this is going to be definitely a tough read. So I'm very kind of eager to get to it, but I'm definitely going to be reading it in tandem with other books that are more light and happy, because this book gets pretty dark if you know anything about the Canadian Indigenous history. I think even some of it aligns with the American history, right? So if you know, you know, and it's pretty sad. I definitely would suggest reading, about your country's history if you can, and that's why I'm kind of focusing on my own personal history and learning more about it. The next book I want to talk about is Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower. I'm really excited to read this, and as you may have seen, other people have been reading it on their channels as well, and I'm kind of getting on that hype train just a little bit, but I really want to read this book because it's set in the early 2020s, and Octavia Butler wrote this book in the 1990s, so I'm really excited to see how she kind of imagined and envisioned the 2020s as we are currently living in them. So I think that's really exciting, and I'm super excited to get to this book. And this is going to continue with kind of the classics, and we know that's kind of what we'd consider, Parable of the Sower is kind of like what we'd consider a modern classic, and these books I have below me are actually going to be just traditional classics, and these are the books I have read before or I haven't read but I really want to read, and I'm trying to expand my literature. I was an English student in university, so I have read these for class in university years before, and also I just kind of want to see, as I read them when I was 19 or 20, and I want to see how I like them now as a 27-year-old woman, or soon to be 27-year-old. The first book I want to share is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This book I have read before and I really like it, but again, I want to see how I like it now, and I'm just hearing other people kind of read it, in my age group, and they're really loving it, so I just think that when I did read it when I was younger, I think I rated this book around 3 stars or something. I think I liked it okay, but maybe because I read it at school, maybe it had a tinge of for an assignment feeling. But as I'm going to be reading this book purely for, entertainment purposes, I'm really excited to see how I appreciate this book now versus when I was younger. So stick around for my review in sometime in the near, distant, not too far future when I do end up reading this book. I can't really promise you when I'll read it, but eventually sometime, somewhere, I'm going to be reading this book. And I'm very excited. And on this classics book haul, I have I have Persuasion by Jane Austen. This is a book I have not read by Jane Austen before, and I'm very excited. I want to read more of Jane Austen's work. As I said previously in other videos, that my favorite book or classic book I read last year was Pride and Prejudice, and so I want to read all of her other works and kind of see which I most identify with. I think I will identify mostly with Pride and Prejudice, as it is a very contemporary story, but I do hear that Emma is a really good Jane Austen novel, which is some people's favorites as well. So hopefully I can get my copy of Emma soon, and I will be kind of, like I said, going through her backlist, if you want to call it like that, and seeing which I prefer over one of the others. So I don't know too much about what this book is about, because it's been around for a while, so either you've heard about it or you haven't, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but I will read kind of the last section of the story to kind of give you a little snippet of what the book's about. Persuasion is a brilliant satire of vanity and pretension, and a mature, tender love story tinged with heartache. Well, that sounds amazing. I am so excited to read it. I can't believe there's so many books that by Jane Austen I haven't read yet, so very excited. Wonder how many times I'm going to say excited in a video. The next book I have to share with you is Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. This book is very controversial to me because I've heard a few things about this book that may not have stood the test of time, might be pretty old. And I heard that, like I said before, Pride and Prejudice is more like a classical love story, where this is not a classical love story. And so I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Is my heart ready for that? I'm not sure, but I'm very excited nonetheless. And my last Penguin Classic edition, and I have been really debating, this is just a side note here, that I've been debating what copies of books that I want to get, and I hear that Penguin Classics are like these editions, like I said before, like the books that I've been holding up lately. These books are like pretty easy to read, like translated pretty well, and that the copy is pretty sturdy, not too sturdy, as you can kind of see. Is this book is brand new, but it has a few little, not that you can really see on camera, but if you were in person, it has like a little scratch or whatever. I brought it brand new, but you know, sometimes when you buy books brand new, there's still always somewhat wear and tear from, you know, travel or what have you. So yeah, so this book is Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, as you might have just when I showed it to you a second ago. This book, when I was picking up classics that I've never kind of read before in the bookstore, I was wondering which ones to pick up. And this one I've been hearing about. You know, I heard that Virginia Woolf's books are really great, so I wanted to check it out. And I did read the back of the book, and I was very confused. It was basically this woman hosting a party, like not a tea party, but like kind of like a light social gathering in the daytime. So that's kind of what I associate with tea time. But anyway, a person, I forget which platform, either it was YouTube or TikTok, they stated that this book may seem like it's about a party, but it's so much more than that. And I'm like, oh, that makes complete sense. Because I'm like, how would you write like a whole novel about a party? So that a little bit tripped me up, but I'm glad that that person, whoever commented on what our social media, kind of stated that way to kind of give me some more comfort about what I'm going to be reading. Like I said before, I don't really have too much knowledge about this book, but I'm really excited to get into it, and I will eventually, like I said before, share my thoughts on this book when I get to it eventually. And the last book I have on this book haul, I will share some footage of me getting it, or maybe a picture or a little video here and there about it, and then we can come back to this book. All right, now you're back. It feels like no time has passed for me. Anyway, the last book I got is the biggest or longest book that I've have on my shelf, period, or just on this list. And I did get this secondhand at a used bookstore in my in the city I live in, and I really want to start supporting more local businesses, and they need our help more than the big chains like Indigo, and if you're in America, like Barnes and Noble. So I really want to promote small businesses, and this book I got at a small little store, and I'm really happy I got it because when I got this book and then I went to, a traditional bookstore, well, I mean traditional as in like brand new only books. This exact copy was sold at the bookstore for like, I think $35, $40, and I bought this book for, I think, $15, something like that. So it was a really great steal of a book, like for price-wise, so I was very happy that I got it, and it's in pretty good condition. I wouldn't say like the best because I'm very picky with my book conditions, but otherwise it's pretty good. And that's to say, all rambling aside, this book is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I really hear that this is like not exactly a romance novel, but like it's about this woman named Anna Karenina, and she has this like affair love story with this man. I don't really know who he is in this context of this story, but I hear the story is really great, and if you have the patience to get through this whole book, which I think I do, I will be very excited to read it. And like I said before, this is the longest book I have on my TBR kind of currently, so I'm very excited to get to it. Well, that is all for my book haul, and I want to kind of share what I'm going to be kind of what I'm going to be reading this month. I have been putting this book off for a year now because I was hoping that the author would have would tell the viewers like myself when the next book would be published, and unfortunately we don't have any updates on when the next book is being published, but I cannot wait any longer, so I'm going to be reading, and I'm currently reading, A Court of Silver Frames by Sarah J. Maas. So far, I'm about like a couple chapters in, and I'm so far really liking it. My favorite character so far in this particular book is Cassian. I think he's really funny. He's getting all the funny lines, so I'm really happy about that. And I am really excited to see what this book's about because I'm really not too sure. I couldn't tell you what this plot of this book could be, but I have some guesses, so hopefully at the end of the month I can share them with you and we can discuss about what I thought about this book. And the next book I also want to read this month. Hopefully I can read more, but I hopefully can get to A Court of Silver Flames and what I just shared, Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. One of my reading goals for this year is to read 1 to 2 classics per month because there's so many on my list that I was like, there's no way I can get through this, especially like I said before, if Anna Karenina is on my list, right? Like, that's like, I think, an 800 plus page book. So to get to that book, I might have to read it in 2 months. So that means I have less months to read the other, classic literature novels I want to get to. So hopefully I can read 1 to 2 classic novels per month, and with that I hopefully can get to 70% of the books that are on that list. But as you know, our TBR is never ending, so that's why I always say that I hope I'll get to these books in time, but you never really know because at the end of the day it is what it is. We have all the plans in the world. And speaking of, as you may have watched from my previous video, what I was going to read in February 2024, you may have clocked that I did not read like 90% of those books, which, to be fair, I did title that book Ambitious, but to be fair, I've been in a severe reading slump, like just so bad reading slump that it was really hard for me to pick up a book, and that's kind of why I picked up A Court of Silver Flames, because I know it's easy, it's going to be fun, I already like the characters, I'm very excited to read it, which is the most important part. So that's why I only have a couple of books on my list. I just shared The Court of Silver Flames and Octavia Butler's book as the tentative / really want to read priority TBR list currently for March and the rest of the month. And I want to kind of share on theme with that about what my channel is going to be looking like in the future. So I know that I have participated. Obviously, I did a February TBR. I'm no longer going to be making TBR videos because I'm such a mood reader. Like, there is no way around it. Either I'm in a slump, or I'm only mood reading on things that I can't give myself these like expectations or rules on reading. I kind of just wing it of what I'm gonna read, when I'm gonna read it. Like I said, I hope to read 1 or 2 classics a month, like, but there's no strict rule of like, this is the classic I have to read, or if I don't read a classic, that's okay too. But at the end of the day, I'm just reading what I want. And like I said before, I'm just kind of not following what everyone else is reading, in essence, sort of. Like I said, Sarah J. Maas is obviously very big and things like that. But going forward, I'm going to be reading more books that are, different and new to me personally. Maybe you heard about them, but maybe I haven't. So that's kind of what I want to be doing going forward, or just reading backlist books that, people have talked about, 2-3 years ago in Book Talk, but I just haven't had the chance to read them yet. And I know that everyone loves them, so I just want to love them too. So that's just what I want to do. And I'm going to go back to my original point here, is that there's going to be no monthly TBRs for my channel. That's just, I see also a lot of other YouTubers, no tea, no shade, but I see other YouTubers also make their 5+ book, TBR lists based on TBR jars or whatever they do to make a TBR video, but they never read the books that they're actually on their list. Maybe some of them do. I have seen that some of them do complete their TBR list and things like that, but some of them, like myself, are mood readers and they just go, oh, this new book came out, or I just bought this other book, right? So they don't get to the actual list. So at the end of the month, it's a completely new list that has had little to no relevance to the previous, monthly TBR video that they made on their channel. And I don't want to waste your time or my time making videos about books I want to read and I end up don't reading. So, and at the same time, I don't want to be sharing a book of what I want to read and me saying over and over, oh, I don't want to tell too much because I want to keep it for myself. And in doing so, I'm keeping it from you because I'm not explaining what the book is, if that makes any sense. So I just want to do what's best for myself and where I want to take my channel, and that's just not doing monthly TBRs. I see the benefit for them some of the time, but for me personally, as a mood reader, like I said before, it's just kind of a waste of time for myself. So I'd rather do monthly wrap-ups where I can give you exactly what I read, what I rated them, or just my overall thoughts on these books because I've actually read them. So that's my kind of update for my channel, and I hope that you understand where I'm coming from about this whole no monthly TBR situation. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of what I'm up to, and there's going to be a lot of new different kinds of videos that I'm going to be making in the future. I know I don't upload that much, but hopefully what I do upload is quality content, and that's all I want to give you guys is quality over quantity. And I think that other YouTubers that I love and you love post enough for the both of us, so I think I'll be okay. Well, anyway, that was all I wanted to share with you today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!